The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While the crowd was pressing in on Jesus and listening to the word of God, he was standing by the lake of Gennesaret. He saw two boats there along the lake. The fishermen had disembarked and were washing their nets. Getting into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, he asked him to put out ashore a short distance from the boat. Then he sat down and he taught the crowds from the boat. After he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and lower your nets for a catch." Simon said in reply, "Master, we have worked hard all night and have caught nothing. But at your command, I will lower the nets." When they had done this, they caught such a great number of fish that their nets were tearing. They signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and to help them. They came and filled both boats, so that the boats were in danger of sinking. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at the knees of Jesus and said, "Depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For astonishment at the catch of fish they had made seized him and all those who were with him, and likewise James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were partners of Simon. Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. From now on you will be catching men." When they brought their boats to the shore, they left everything and followed Jesus. My brothers and sisters, the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. When writing a homily, you realize that there are very few things that you can actually control beyond the message itself. There are going to be some who love it, the homily that being. There are going to be some who maybe it wasn't their favorite. There are going to be others who think to themselves, well, at least I'm 7 minutes closer to breakfast. But one other thing that I decided today that I can control with this homily is there will be no overtimes. I promise you. None. In all of our different readings throughout the course of this Mass, the focus has been on that of vocation. From St. Paul to the disciples, you see this sense of purpose and being and vocation. Now, sometimes when we hear that term in particular, we think priesthood. We use this a lot, right? That individual has a vocation to the priesthood. But what I'm focusing in on here is the vocation that all of us are called to. And more specifically, what I want to focus on is the call. Because if we break down vocation to its very basic elements, we see within it vocare, to call. And so the question is why is it that God would call us? That's an important element. We just assume that to be part of the deal. But why is it that God would call? And most simply, my brothers and sisters, it's because of God's deep desire to be in relationship with us. More often than not, when we make a phone call, it's for some kind of relationship. Certainly there's the pro forma type stuff that exists out there. "Hi, I want a pizza. Can you please bring that to me?" I don't sit and have a 10-minute conversation with the person after he's delivered it. Maybe you do, and that's wonderful. But most often, though, when we make phone calls, it's out of a desire for a relationship. And the same is true. God is saying, I want to be in relationship with you. I want to be a part of your life in some element. Let that be the case. And if we think about it in that context, it changes the nature of vocation. God's not saying, go and do this. God's saying, I want to be a part of what you're going to do. Look what happens with St. Peter. St. Peter goes out and catches this massive amount of fish despite working all night. And who is waiting for him at the shore? But Jesus himself. And I would argue at this point and beyond that if our vocation is to be of real significance and meaning, then a relationship with Christ is essential, because it is the way that we go about understanding everything else it is that we do. Because the next piece is essential. Jesus meets the disciples, right? And they've been out fishing all night. Now let's pay attention to one thing. Jesus' background is in carpentry, all right? He is not an expert fisherman. So St. Peter and the crew come back. It's been a long night. They've been fishing. They've been working hard. And Jesus says, let me offer you a friendly piece of advice. I picked this one up while whittling a chunk of wood earlier. Go back out there and you know where you were, and just throw the nets on the other side, because that's going to work. So St. Peter's like, Master, we have worked all night long. But because of our relationship, because you have said it to be true, and I have seen you do amazing things, I'll go back out there, despite being tired, despite being exhausted, and honestly, despite thinking you're going to be all wet. So he goes out, and he catches this incredible overabundance of fish, and he doesn't even know what to do. He's so shocked that he jumps in the water, and he swims back and apologizes, essentially, for doubting. That's the nature of the relationship that we need to have, because here's the deal. When we are called into this vocation, when Jesus desires to be a part of our lives, when we reciprocate that and desire to be a part of his, he's going to call us to do the same. Jesus never says, come walk with me on the shoreline. Jesus says very distinctly to St. Peter then and to us now, if you want to follow me, put out into the deep. Because that's where I am. That's where I'm calling you to go. I can think about that to be true in my own life. I have a biology degree as a priest, and the reason is because I had an incredible high school biology teacher. That relationship there propelled me to pursue biology. I became a priest, though, but because of my parents and their incredible faith. And I was so inspired by the way in which they lived their lives that I felt that I could be called into this reality. Think about these relationships that we hold dear to in our own lives. How it is that they summon within us a deeper capacity than we ever imagined. But for us to pursue our vocation, despite the challenges and the problems and the difficulties that are going to ensue, a relationship is utterly essential with Jesus. Because it gives us the filter, the context, to understand why it is that we are enduring the challenges, how it is to receive the blessings that God places before us, and what it is that we're to do with both of them. This day, I want you all to think specifically about this final component, and I'm just going to read it. For astonishment at the catch of fish they had made seized him and all those with him, and likewise James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were partners of Simon. Jesus said to Simon, do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching men. When they brought their boats to the shore, they left everything and followed him. That's what a vocation, that's what a call, that's what a relationship propels us to do. To let go of our fear and our trembling about what this might cost us. To let go of our fear and trembling about what the future just might hold if we do this, and instead to let it all go and to come and follow him. I can't promise you that it's going to work out perfectly. I can't promise you that there won't be difficult days, but I can promise you that when we follow the Lord with a deep relationship in our hearts, that our lives, in the end, will have meaning, will have purpose, will have significance, because we have Christ.